The judge spoke the number out loud, $411,260. Then he pulled his glasses off and said it again, slower. Across the aisle, my wife's attorney wanted a recess. My wife did not move. She was looking at me, the broke man at the cheap table, the man whose accounts she emptied down to gas money, and the court had just handed me every dollar of her secret, not half, all of it. This is how a hidden fortune changes owners. It starts 11 months earlier with a blood pressure cuff. I am 57 and I drove a refrigerated truck for 30 years. Reefer work, fresh loads mostly. Lettuce out of the valley, berries in season, frozen loads back. 3 million miles without a chargeable accident. You get a jacket for that and a ring. Nobody mentions money. Every February, I sit for a DOT, physical, to keep my medical card. No card, no wheel, no exceptions. The nurse took my pressure and her face changed. She took it again on the other arm and left the room. 188/112. I knew my numbers had been creeping for a year. I skipped the cheap fall check because the loads were paying. You can outdrive weather, way stations, even sleep. You cannot outdrive your own arteries. No certificate today, the doctor said. Maybe not for a while. My carrier pulled me off my truck by 9 that morning. 30 years ended in a paper gown, holding my boots. There is no light duty for a driver. There is the road, or there is nothing. Dispatch said the words company policy 4 times on one call. I drove my pickup home from the clinic doing 50 in a 60. No load behind me for the first February in 3 decades. The first letter beat me back from the clinic. Health insurance, gone with the job. $1,140 a month to keep it. The new pills were $87 a bottle, and there were 3 bottles. My old dispatcher called with his voice full of apology. Maybe a desk slot in the spring, he said. Maybe. Spring is a long word when your pressure medicine costs $261. My wife is Sharon, married 19 years, the second marriage for us both. Our daughter Hannah was a freshman up at the state school, riding a college fund we opened when she was 6 days old. For 19 years, my life ran on a simple deal. I stayed gone 3 weeks out of 4 and sent everything home. Sharon ran the house, the bills, the accounts, the whole operation. She ran the leasing office at an apartment complex off the bypass. Every password lived in her head. I never asked for one. Her first marriage died over money, screaming matches about bills. When we married, she asked for the checkbook like a wedding gift. Let me carry this part, she said. You carry the road. It did not feel like giving up control. It felt like the only romantic thing a trucker can offer, somebody to hold the wheel at home. Here is what 3 weeks a month actually buys. I heard Hannah's first recital through a phone on a dashboard. I saw her braces come off in a picture at a fuel desk. Sharon handled the fevers, the parent nights, the flat tires. I am not telling you that to excuse what she did. I am telling you because she kept the receipt for all of it, and one day she would try to spend it. Checking on her felt like calling her a liar for no reason. We had a ritual, her and me. I would call from some dock in Tulsa or Amarillo at sunset, and she would recite the balances like a bedtime story. Checking, savings, the college fund, the retirement, numbers with commas in them. I fell asleep in that bunk proud, more nights than I can count. A man eating lunch meat from a cooler to keep those numbers fat. Want the worst part? She never missed a call. Whatever else was happening in that house, she picked up, and she gave me those numbers in the same warm voice. Every balance she quoted me for 2 straight years was fiction. Then there was our anniversary call 2 years back. She popped something fizzy over the phone and toasted the savings. We crossed $100,000, baby, she said. We did that. I sat in a sleeper cab outside a packing shed and teared up. I know the dates now. That was the month she opened the account. The toast and the first withdrawal were days apart. My proudest phone call was her opening ceremony. The first week home, I mostly slept and took new pills. The second week, I started doing a thing I had never done. I opened the mail, not her mail, ours, the joint statements, the mortgage, the insurance, 30 years of letting envelopes pass through other hands. The checking statement came midweek. I went through it at the workbench in my garage. Then I went back down it with my finger under each line, slow. There were transfers going out, the same direction over and over, to the same place. A company name I could not pronounce on the first try. Some kind of exchange. The statement said, $200 here, $1,100 there, $400, $600, $900. Page after page, month after month. One jumped off the page and bit me. $1,100. Moved out on Hannah's 18th birthday. We ate cake that night on a video call from a rest area. She moved it while the candles were still warm. I know what a load pays before dispatch finishes the sentence. I had never seen this company's name in my life, and our bank statement said we paid them like a car note. In the same pile of mail sat one more envelope. Same company, printed return address. Addressed to Sharon, only Sharon. The little window showed the corner of a tax form. I held it up to the kitchen light like a fool. Then I set it down, because that is a federal line to cross. Mail with her name on it is hers, married or not. I stood it up against the coffee maker, face out, and I left it there like a loaded mousetrap. That envelope stayed propped by the coffee maker for 9 days, sealed the whole time. It is sealed in a drawer in my house right now, today. I never needed to open it. The bank was willing to show me everything I had a right to see. I drove to our branch the next morning when the doors opened. Pamela at the desk has cashed my checks since the 90s. I asked her to set up online access for the joint accounts. She tapped a while, then looked up with a strange smile. "You have never had a login," she said. 19 years on the account, and this is your first look? I gave her the honest answer. I was driving. Somebody trusted had the watch. She slid the card reader toward me and lowered her voice. "Honey," she said, "look now." 2 hours disappeared in the bank parking lot, scrolling 19 years of our life on a phone screen. Steady deposits, boring bills, savings climbing a slow hill. Then, 26 months ago, the hill turns into a cliff. Savings starts bleeding out in fat, round numbers. $3,000 in 1 week, $5,000 the next month, always landing at that same exchange with the strange name. The checking account was worse. My settlement checks landed the same day every week, and a slice walked out the back door within 2 days. Small slices, sized to hide under groceries and fuel. I added the outflows up right there in the truck. $147,000 had left our joint accounts in 26 months. Our savings balance that morning was $3,912. The savings Sharon quoted me days earlier was $61,000 and change. She had not misread it. You do not misread a number 15 times in a row. She manufactured it. I did not feel rage yet. I felt stupid. 3 million safe miles, and I missed what was riding behind me. That afternoon, I did the hardest thing I have ever done. Not one thing. I wiped my eyes, drove home, and kissed her hello, because a man who tips his hand early loses the whole pot. So for 2 weeks, I watched the house like a load I did not trust. Her phone slept face down, even on the charger. A new gym bag, mornings only, hair perfect when she came home. One morning, I got as far as following her to the first light. Then I turned around at a fuel pump and drove home ashamed. Tailing your wife is a coin flip you cannot unflip. If I was wrong, I became the paranoid husband forever. If I was right, she would see me in a mirror and bolt. The statements could follow her better than I could, and the grocery gaslight, the one that almost broke my act. I handed her $200 for the week's food. 4 days later, she asked where the grocery money was. "You spent it, baby. Remember?" she said, soft as a nurse. I stood there wondering if the doctor missed something. I needed to know where the money went and who taught her to move it. The answer to the second question was in my backyard. It was Ray, family friend, 15 years, the guy who brings craft beer and talks like a podcast. Sharon called him their money mentor, half joking. I called him Harmless. Harmless Ray had been coaching my wife one-on-one for 2 years. Coffee meetings I thought were about Hannah's college forms. I can still hear him working my backyard. Cash is a melting ice cube, he liked to say, tongs in hand. Banks pay you nothing and call it safety. I thought it was beer talk from a guy with a nice watch. Sharon started repeating his lines a year later. She quoted me a balance one night and added, "Money should work." I remember smiling at that, proud of her. I was hearing another man's voice and calling it growth. That weekend, I ran our ritual one last time, in person. I asked her to run me the numbers like the old days. She smiled and pulled out her phone and performed a savings balance of $61,400 off an app she would not turn toward me. The real statement was folded in my jacket pocket, $3,912. I watched her face the whole time she performed it. 19 years, and I was watching a stranger do a magic trick. She finished and said, "We are fine, baby." Then she squeezed my hand, the same hand that signed for every load for 30 years. That squeeze is the cruelest thing she ever did to me. 2 nights later, the phone rang at dinner. Hannah calling from her dorm, trying not to cry. "Dad," the bursar says, "my tuition bounced. There is a hold on my classes. The fall money never posted." I looked at Sharon over the dinner plates, and I sat there while my wife lied to our daughter in real time. "Honey, it is a bank error," she said. "The transfer crossed wires. I will fix it tomorrow." Not a flicker anywhere on her face. Our daughter said, "Okay," because mothers do not lie. Sharon returned to her plate. I went to the garage and called the college fund company. There is an automated line for account balances. The robot asked for the account owner's PIN. I did not have one. I have never had one. Even the robot answered to her. 20 minutes later, Hannah texted me her bursar ledger. Spring semester, paid in full from the college plan. This fall, next to the plan's name, $0.00. The fund held $31,000 in her last bedtime recital, 18 years of birthday checks and overtime. That is when the rage finally showed up, standing in a dark garage, locked out by a robot. I walked back inside with my pulse in my ears. The sentence was loaded. "Where is our daughter's money?" Sharon was out back watering her flower beds, humming. My mouth was open when the phone lit up between us. Hannah calling back about her class schedule. By the time the call ended, I had my hand steady again. If I had fired that sentence, she would have moved everything. And this would be a very short, very different story. The phone bill says that call lasted 6 minutes. Those 6 minutes are why I am not broke today. The next day, she kept her promise to Hannah, sort of. The bursar got $1,200 in cash, and the hold came off one class. A patch, not a fix, painted money over a missing wall. Remember that $1,200. It comes back later wearing handcuffs. She walked every dollar out the door while I held the wheel, and she was upstairs right now, picking a show to watch. I met with 3 divorce attorneys in 4 days. The first 2 quoted me retainers with 5 figures in them. I had $3,912 and a blood pressure problem. The first one slid a glossy folder across a marble table. $10,000 to start, he said, and we bill against it. The second one was cheaper and worse. Whatever she offers, take it, he said. Trials eat men like you. He said it with my statements still closed on his desk. The third name came from a guy at my old terminal, Marta, one office, over a tax prep shop in a strip mall. She listened for 40 minutes and never picked up a pen. Then she pointed at my folder of statements. May I? She asked. She worked through the folder for 20 minutes in dead silence. And then Marta said the sentence this whole story turns on. Money never disappears, she said. It changes shape. Your job is to stop watching the purse. Watch the shape. She laid out 3 pages side by side on her desk. Your wife did not spend $147,000, she said. Look, no cars, no trips, no boutiques on any of these pages. She converted it. It went from dollars you could see to coins you cannot. That has a paper trail, and paper is where I live. How will you pay me? She asked. With what she left you. I started to answer, and she waved me off. Wrong, she said. In this state, marriage is a fiduciary relationship. The spouse holding the money can be ordered to fund both sides. She will pay her lawyer, and the court can make her pay yours. The woman who emptied the accounts to starve me out would be writing the checks for the man coming after her. Marta took the case on a court-ordered advance. Then she gave me 3 rules before I left that office. Rule 1, do not confront her. Not one word, not a look. Rule 2, touch nothing, not the accounts, not her phone, and not that envelope, she said. You leave that sealed the way you found it. The day we subpoenaed the company's copy, your sealed one matters. It sat in her mailbox, in her name, and she never said a word. That silence is evidence of what she knew. She also handed me homework, a list 9 items long. 30 years of DOT logs trained me for exactly this. Date, time, amount, source, destination, every dollar, no gaps. I bought a 3-ring binder and a box of plastic sleeves, and I logged my marriage like a roadside inspection. By trial, that binder weighed more than a brake drum. Marta called it the best evidence she never had to organize. Rule 3, she said, go get your blood pressure down. You are about to need it. Sharon got served at 11 in the morning, midweek. I was on the front porch steps, coffee in hand, watching. It took her 2 passes to get through the first page, and for 1 second, the wife I knew for 19 years left. The face underneath was doing math. What did you do? She said. Not why, not how could you. What did you do? Then the mask came back on, smooth as ever. We can fix this, baby, she said. You are sick. You are not thinking right. I went back to my coffee without a word. Her sister called me that night, already screaming. Sharon showed her a story where I was the villain, sick and cruel. You kicked a grieving woman out, she yelled. Nobody kicked anyone anywhere. Sharon packed 2 suitcases and drove herself to her sister's spare room. To clear my head, she said, in front of Hannah. For the record, she took the good car and left me the mortgage. Every mile between us made it easier not to say the wrong thing. Ray's truck rolled past my house twice that evening. Slow, a property owner's lap around the block. Her lawyer was a downtown name, $450 an hour. Marta slid that detail across the desk like a gift. Ask yourself, she said, what retainer he took and from which account it came, because the woman on these statements has $3,912. His first letter arrived a week later. Heavy paper, gold seal. It demanded temporary support and exclusive use of the house she had already left on her own 2 feet. Marta typed 1 paragraph back. Your client departed voluntarily before a witness, on the record. No reply ever came, and the demand died with it. Said where our daughter could hear it. Her own words. The performance she staged for our daughter became my shield. The filing froze everything automatically, both of us. Standard orders, Nobody moves the money while the case is open, which meant every dollar was now locked wherever it sat, visible or not. I will admit I panicked at the word frozen. I thought it meant my paycheck was locked too. Marta talked me down in one phone call. You can pay bills, buy food, live your life, she said. What nobody can do is move marital money out of reach. The freeze is not a wall, it is a camera. Anything that moves now moves on film. 30 days later, her first disclosure landed. Every divorce here requires a sworn list of what you own, signed under penalty of perjury. Sharon listed the house, her car, the checking, a small annuity, no exchange, no coins, no account with a name you cannot pronounce. Marta looked it over and smiled. A first since the day we met. She just lied to the court in writing. Marta said. I know, I said. That is bad. No, she said. For us, it is beautiful. The fee hearing came the next month. Her lawyer stood up in a suit that cost my old monthly pay and argued I was unemployed by choice, a healthy man playing broke to milk his hard-working wife. Marta never lifted her voice. She handed up my DOT exam, the disqualification, the pills. A man with 3 million documented miles, she said, does not park his truck for fun. The judge ordered $7,500 from community funds for my attorney, payable by the spouse who manages them. I watched Sharon write that check in the hallway after, pressing so hard the pen tore the paper. The first dollar she could not hide from me in 2 years, but do not let that hearing fool you. I won an hour in court and went home to lose every day after. Pills on credit, the mortgage, the lights, the water, all on me, all behind. A man does not say this part out loud very often. I ate dinner from a food bank twice that winter. The second time, I recognized a neighbor 2 spots up the line. We nodded and never spoke of it, the code of broke men. Hannah came home one weekend and opened my refrigerator. Mustard, bread, 2 eggs, and enough quiet to fill a church. She closed it slowly and said, Dad, we are getting groceries. She paid with her bookstore money and dared me to argue. I tried anyway, one time about the meal plan. Dad, she said, you pawned your ring. I checked the case. The kid had walked past the shop and recognized the band. You do not get to out-stubborn someone with your own blood. We split the difference. She took my 20 for gas. I did not argue. Hannah was 18 days from losing her spring classes. The bursar wanted $5,200 to lift the hold. A registration hold has a date on it, and mine had a fuse. So I took the only job that would have me. Cold storage warehouse, overnight shift, $19 an hour. Pulling frozen pallets in a building kept at 0 degrees. I wore the same thermal gear I kept behind my truck seat. The shift lead was 26 and called me young man. He watched me work a week, then quietly fixed my pallet routes. Less walking, same pay, young man, he said. His name was Cody. The work was brutal and honest, and I was glad to have it. I clocked out at 6 a.m. and slept in Hannah's old room. The master bedroom stayed shut for months. I am not sure why. Some doors you just stop opening, but $19 an hour does not outrun a bursar deadline. In the middle of all this, I tried to get my card back early. 166 over 100. Better. Still disqualified. The examiner was kind about it, and the kindness stung extra. Stress is fighting your medicine, son, he said. I was losing the war twice, once in court, once in my chest. Day 15, I was still $3,100 short. I sold my fishing boat to a kid who talked me down $400. Still short, so I drove to the pawn shop with my Safe Miles ring. 3 million miles, says so right on the band. The man behind the glass weighed it like scrap. He gave me $300 for the gold and kept his eyes down. Hannah called that night before I could dial her. Dad, I got a job at the campus bookstore, she said, and I dropped the meal plan. I do not need it. My daughter was skipping dinners to protect her mother's lie. 2 in the morning, break room, frost melting off my gloves. I typed a text to Sharon, long, weak, begging her to just talk. You grieved the liar and the lie on 2 separate schedules. I went over the text twice and deleted it letter by letter. I cried in the truck outside the freezer like a child. Then Ray called, first time since the filing, friendly as a golf announcer. Heard things are tight, he said. Let me help. Family helps family. $25,000, 6%. Pay me when you land. He had paperwork ready, a real note, a notary lined up. I sat at Ray's pool table with his pen in my hand. $25,000 would lift Hannah's hold and bury 3 bills. The tip of that pen was touching the line. And then Ray dropped his voice for the quiet part. We keep this between us, he said. No reason for it to end up in the case. I put the pen down because help walks in the front door. Only a trap asks to come in the back. I thanked him, left the money on the felt, and drove home. Marta nearly came through the phone when I told her. A private debt to him, off the books, mid-case, she said. Sign that and he owns a piece of you at trial. You did not dodge a favor, you dodged a leash. We made the deadline with $11 left over. Ring money, freezer checks, Hannah's bookstore job, a deferment plan, and $1,800 down. She stayed enrolled by the width of a pawned ring. I drove home from the night shift at 4 in the morning, knuckles split from pallet ice, heater roaring, and I passed Ray's truck pulling out of my street. Nobody visits at that hour to borrow a rake. Some discoveries do not need a bank statement. Discovery is the part of a divorce nobody puts in the movies. Paper demands, objections, delays build by the 10th of an hour. Her lawyer answered our document requests with 1 sentence. No responsive documents exist. Marta said that line out loud twice, almost happy. They are going to make her swear to it, she said. Good, she said again, softer. We depose her before the records come back. But her lawyer got to depose me first, and Marta drilled me for it. Answer the question they ask, she said, not the one you fear. His trap was dressed up as a compliment. You trusted your wife with every dollar, correct? A yes that turns 30 years of wages into a present. I gave him the truth instead, the way Marta taught me. I trusted her to manage our money, I said. Ours, not hers. Nobody ever told me a dime of it stopped being ours. He circled that answer 4 different ways and got it 4 times. On the drive home, my hand shook on the wheel. 1 sloppy yes, and I would have wrapped her theft like a present. I asked why not wait and hit her with the proof. Marta gave me the look I save for brand new drivers. You never show a liar the wall before she paints herself into it. Lock the lie first. The deposition room was beige and quiet, with bad coffee. Sharon came in dressed like a juror's favorite neighbor. Her lawyer sat beside her, checking his watch at $450 an hour. Marta started soft. The house, the cars, her job at the complex. 40 minutes of nothing questions. Then, without changing her voice, she stepped on the gas. Do you own any cryptocurrency or digital assets? No, Sharon said. Have you ever opened an account there? Not that I recall. You do not recall, or no. Flat no, this time. Where did $147,000 of joint money go in 26 months? Sharon folded her hands like a choir girl. Groceries, gas, the house, she said. My husband was on the road. Everything got expensive. Marta wrote 1 slow note and asked the last one. Who advises you about money? Nobody, Sharon said. I read articles, 4 answers, under oath, on the record, a court reporter typing every word. I sat 3 feet away and watched her hang our marriage on them. In the elevator down, she stood next to me like a stranger. New perfume, posture like a fence post. You look unwell, she said to the doors. That was the whole conversation, 11 floors of it. Marta told me later why the calm bothered me so much. She has told this version so long she lives in it, she said. That is what practice does. It turns a lie into a memory. 11 days later, the exchange answered our subpoena, or tried to. Her lawyer moved to toss the records on a technicality. We had served the wrong corporate entity, an old shell name, and for 9 days, the entire case sat on a clerical error. A glass tower, one lobby for 40 companies, no sign anywhere. A guard told me deliveries went to another state altogether. 30 years hauling freight, you can touch, weigh, and strap, and my life savings had no loading dock anywhere on earth. That is what crypto is when you strip the commercials off. Freight with no dock, no seal, no driver to shake hands with. Perfect for moving value, perfect for hiding it. Marta reserved through the company's registered agent. The records landed at 4:51 in the afternoon, end of the week, 300 pages. Marta called me at the freezer with the cover sheet. Account holder, Sharon, opened 26 months ago. Sole control, her email, her phone, her face on the selfie check. Funded by 61 transfers from our joint accounts. Then the pages that put me on a pallet stack, sitting down. Her retirement rollover, cashed out, $38,500. The penalties alone cost us $9,200. That rollover was from the property group, her own years of work. The one pile I always called hers, even in my head. She torched her own retirement to feed the account. That is when I understood this was not skimming. This was a woman packing a parachute for a different plane. Hannah's college fund drained in 11 pulls, $31,000. Final balance, $212.16. She left our daughter pocket change. Cash advances on a card in her name, $10,000. And on that card's statements, the part that was not about money. A motel out by the lake, 11 charges in 14 months. The same night of the week, almost every time. Her yoga night, the one slot she protected for 2 years. Do not call during class, baby. The phone stays in a locker. She even built her alibi a door with a lock on it. 30 years of motels, and I never picked one that cheap. Her property expos, the weekends I called, and she whispered, keeping her voice down in a room I was not in. That is the page where the cheating stopped being a guess. My wife cheated on more than our marriage. She cheated the household ledger, and the ledger kept score. And there it was, in the advances, $1,200 cash in one pull, drawn the day after she promised Hannah a bank error fix. She patched our daughter's tuition with borrowed money, while $180,000 of coins sat one password away. Total in $226,500, 26 months, while I called from docks at sunset. And one part I made Marta repeat. The account she swore did not exist had been growing. The coins she bought for $226,500 were now worth $411,260. Her secret had nearly doubled while we stood in food lines. Her hidden account crossed $400,000, while I pawned a ring for $300. Crypto does not care whose daughter loses her meal plan. I hung up and stood in a freezer full of other people's food. We were rich, and I was holding a box of frozen waffles. There was one more page in that production, a tax form issued 4 months back. The exchange had reported a sale, $12,000 in coins, cashed out. The form's date matched the postmark in my kitchen drawer. Her sealed envelope, the one I never opened. The company told the government. The government copy sat in my house with her name on it, and she walked past it every morning, saying nothing. $12,000 cashed out after the court froze everything. Marta traced where it went in one afternoon. $15,000 retainer to her downtown lawyer, paid within days. She sold hidden coins to pay the man hiding them. I thought we had won right there. I am telling you this so you do not make my mistake. In court, finding the money is not the finish line. It is a starting gun. Her side came back swinging with a brand new story. Fine, the account exists, they said, but it is hers alone. The money was a gift given freely by a generous husband. He handed her the finances for 19 years, no questions. A gift, they said, separate property, hers, the growth included. If that argument landed, the law would shake her hand. She would keep every coin, legally, with a straight face. I heard it in a conference room, and the floor went soft. Marta, I said. I gave her the passwords. That part is true. Did you sign anything? She asked. Not a thing. Then breathe. In this state, your paycheck is community money, hers and yours. A spouse cannot gift herself your wages by silence. Gifts between spouses go in writing, or they never happened. She tapped the statements, the same pages, the same trail. Every dollar in that account walks back to a joint account. We can follow each one like footprints in snow. But her face was tighter than her voice, because a judge is a human being, and stories work on humans. A jury of one, and her side only had to make him squint. Ray sat for his deposition in a golf shirt, lawyered and smug. He did not recall 41 separate times, we counted. The man had rehearsed forgetting. But smug men cannot resist one thing, and that is sounding smart. Marta asked if Sharon ever paid him for his guidance. Advisory fees, he said, straightening up. $18,000, properly invoiced, all above board. He thought that answer made him a businessman. It made him a man holding $18,000 of our marriage's money. Marta wrote the number down like a receipt. We will come back for that, she told me in the hallway. That was the season they tried to bury us. Motion after motion, each one a snowdrift on a small firm. Marta answered the blizzard with the same statute as before. She asked the court for another advance and got $10,000, funded by the estate Sharon managed, every motion now self-defeating. The math finally landed on the other table. Each snowdrift they threw was billing them twice. The motion stopped like a faucet turning. Then they went at me personally. Her declaration called me confused, paranoid, in decline. Obsessed with envelopes, it said. Unfit, fixated, frightening to live with. She wrote that her husband stares at the mail for hours. They demanded a doctor evaluate whether I could still drive. Marta slid the declaration across the desk and watched me read. 11 pages of a man I have never met wearing my name. Controlling, the pages said. Unstable, fixated, frightening. I got to the part about the envelopes and had to stop, because someday, somewhere, Hannah might read these pages. That is the page that almost broke me, the one she might see. Marta took the papers back and said the truest thing. They wrote 11 pages about your mind, she said. People only attack the witness when the documents are killing them, claiming I was faking the pressure numbers to dodge work. The same numbers that took my career, now proof I was lazy. Then one quiet morning, 2 deputies knocked on my door. A welfare check, called in by a concerned relative. They walked through a clean, half-empty house, saw a man with a crock pot going and a game on the radio. One deputy stopped at the kitchen drawer I had left open. An envelope sat inside, sealed, months old by the postmark. He looked at it, looked at me, and shrugged. "Have a good one, sir," he said. The report said no concerns noted. Her lawyer never mentioned welfare checks again, and then they made their real move. A settlement offer, hand-delivered, expiring in 10 days. I keep the house and its $90,000 of equity, plus $40,000 cash, wired in a week. She keeps her separate property, untouched, no questions. Sign here, everybody goes home. I almost signed it. You have stayed with me this far, so you know what I was carrying. Pills on credit, a pawned ring, a kid skipping meals. $40,000 was 8 months of breathing. I sat on the freezer floor at 3 in the morning, running the math on a cracked phone screen. Take the sure thing, said every tired bone I had. Day 9, Marta called me before her first coffee. I can settle this tomorrow if you say so, she said, but understand what their money is telling you. Nobody pays $40,000 to a man they expect to beat. The offer is not generosity. It is a confession with a deadline. And then my daughter drove home without telling anyone. Hannah walked in carrying a shoebox with a rubber band on it. She set it down on the coffee table like it was heavy. Dad, she said, Mom is going to hate me. Inside were envelopes, exchange envelopes, addressed to her mother, 2 years of them. Mom told me to toss the junk mail whenever I grabbed the box. I save things, Hannah said. You know I save things. 22 sealed statements, every postmark a month apart. A paper calendar of the lie, January through October, twice. At the bottom, older than everything, one more envelope. The welcome letter from the college fund, 18 years old. Congratulations on investing in your child's future. Hannah had saved her own beginning without knowing it. Proof the company wrote to her every month at our address. Nobody forgets an account that mails her monthly. And under the envelopes, one more thing. A birthday card, already opened, taped back shut. To Sharon, in handwriting, 15 years of cookout cards had taught me. Stay patient. Big harvests take time. Your guy, Ray. Hannah looked at me with her mother's eyes and said it plain. I am not picking you over Mom. I am picking true over false. She was 19, and she laid her palm on the box like a Bible. If they make me, I will say where it came from, she said. They never had to make her. Paper talks so daughters do not have to. That box ended the settlement question for good. On the 10th day, Marta sent back a single sentence. My client declines. We will see you at trial. That night, Sharon called my phone 4 times from her sisters. I let all 4 ring through to voicemail. The last message ran 90 seconds and dropped the mask whole. You are going to die alone in that house, it said, among other things. The voice was not the bedtime story voice. It was the real one, and the recording was date-stamped. Marta transcribed it the next morning and marked it as an exhibit. When your enemy is furious, hand them a microphone. The box mattered because I was only signing to spare Hannah the stand. Sharon caught me in the driveway 2 nights later. No lawyers, no script, the porch light doing all the work. Take the offer, she said. It is the last soft landing you get. One answer was still missing, and I wanted it from her mouth. How long with Ray? And my wife of 19 years finally stopped acting. Ray sees me, she said. You saw a dispatcher and a load board. You were gone 3 weeks a month. What did you expect? Not sorry, not denial. An invoice for her affair, billed to my driving. Then she leaned close enough that I could smell her shampoo. Go to trial, and my lawyer puts Hannah on a witness stand. You will lose your daughter to win a number. I opened the truck door and answered her over my shoulder. She already chose. You did that the day you spent her dorm money on him. Sharon stood in the driveway until I turned the corner. In the mirror, she looked small, and I felt nothing. 3 weeks to trial. Trial came in late winter, 11 months after the cuff. 2 days, 1 judge, no jury. Family court is a bench trial. 1 human being decides. Cody covered my freezer shifts both days. Do not worry about it, young man, he said. I wore the suit I bought for my mother's funeral. Sharon wore soft gray, like a kindergarten teacher. Ray was on their witness list, and in the gallery behind him sat a woman I had met at 15 years of cookouts. Ray's wife, alone, spine straight, taking her own notes. Whatever Ray told her about this case, the notes said plenty. Her side claimed the account was a gift and the burden rode with the claim. So the judge took her case first. Their story was smooth as poured glass. Her lawyer opened with a hand on his heart. "This is a case about a marriage of separate lanes," he said. Marta opened with 9 words. "The documents will do the talking, Your Honor. Thank you, a devoted wife who ran everything because her husband chose Miles. The money was handed to me," Sharon testified. "He never asked a question in 19 years. I understood it to be mine to manage, mine to grow." She cried at the right moment, one tear, well rehearsed. "I will give her lawyer this much." The gift theory sounded human. Then Marta stood up for cross with 1 page in her hand. "Did you ever read your husband's account balances over the phone?" "Sometimes," Sharon said. "Were the numbers you gave him accurate?" The pause before her answer had its own zip code. "I tried," she said. Marta let those 2 words stand there and breathe. No further questions. What do we call money a man hands over and never mentions? I will tell you something I am not supposed to say. For 1 bad minute, their story sounded like my marriage. I did hand it over. I did stop asking. From the outside, trust and gift wear the same coat. That minute passed when I remembered the $61,400. A gift does not need a fake balance performed over the phone. You only perform theater for a man you are still robbing. Their expert came next, the one hired to prove I could drive. A vocational man with a laminated chart of trucking jobs. Some genius who never sat in a cab passed a test drive. Marta stood up slow, holding the Federal Medical Handbook. "Doctor, what blood pressure reading disqualifies a driver?" He did not know the number. The number was the entire case, and he did not know it. She quoted it to him, then quoted mine and sat down. The judge wrote something, and it was not about me. Then it was my turn on the stand, and my hands were ice. Marta walked me through the ritual, doc by doc, year by year. "Tell the court about the sunset calls," she said. "I would call at sunset," I said, from wherever the load had me, and my wife would recite our balances, soft, like a story for a child, checking, savings, college, retirement, in that order, every call. I believed every number for 19 years. Marta held up the savings statement from the week I came home, $3,912, and the balance your wife recited that night, she asked, $61,400. The courtroom did that thing where nobody moves. Her lawyer asked me only one thing on cross. "You never demanded the passwords, did you, sir?" "No, sir," I said. "Where I worked, you trust your partner or you crash." He sat down faster than he stood up. Then came Ray in a blazer, smiling at the bench. "The advisory fees were above board," he said again. "Invoiced." Marta put the birthday card on the screen. "Stay patient. Big harvests take time. Your guy, Ray." "Is harvest a standard advisory term?" Marta asked. Ray said it referred to gardening. He said tomatoes under oath in a court of law. A grown dumbass swearing to tomatoes. The judge took his glasses off the first time that day. In the gallery, Ray's wife stopped writing. She folded her hands and stared at the side of his head. There went the rest of his harvest. Day 2 was ours, and Marta built it like a bridge, span by span, nothing fancy, every bolt a page. The bank officer walked through 61 transfers, joint account to crypto exchange, 26 months, $147,000. Then the retirement rollover, $38,500. Penalties bled out. Then the college fund, 11 pulls, $31,000, balance $212.16. The judge asked the bank officer to repeat the balance, $212.16, he said. A child's whole future, dead even with a tank of diesel. Then Marta played the deposition against the records. Question: Do you own any cryptocurrency or digital assets? Answer, no. Exhibit 12, an account in her name holding crypto. Question, have you ever opened an account at that exchange? Answer, no. Exhibit 13, her own face in the verification photo. My wife, holding her license under her chin like a mugshot, smiling because the app told her to. Question, who advises you about money? Answer, nobody. I read articles. Exhibit 14, an invoice, advisory fees, $18,000. To Ray, 4 answers, 4 exhibits. The room got quieter each time. Then came the envelope, my envelope, the one from my kitchen drawer, still sealed. Marta had saved it for last, and she made it slow on purpose. Your Honor, this arrived at the family home 2 years ago, addressed to the respondent. My client has never opened it. We asked the court to open it now. The bailiff slid it with a letter opener, gentle as surgery. Inside, a tax form reporting her $12,000 crypto sale, a twin of the one the exchange produced under subpoena. The court compared them side by side, line by line. They matched to the dollar. The government knew about her account. The mailman knew the way to our house. The only person never told was the man footing the bill. Her lawyer reached for the last tool in the bag, a new villain. My client was manipulated, he argued, by a predatory advisor, a vulnerable woman, isolated, exploited by a family friend. And Sharon, given her last chance to speak, took the deal. Ray pushed me into it, she said, suddenly small. Ray picked the coins. Ray set the amounts. I just listened. 14 months of motel yoga nights, and she sold them out cold. The judge asked her exactly one question. Who entered the password each time money moved? The silence went long. Me, she finally said. Marta's closing argument took 4 minutes, shortest of her career. She put the first joint statement on one side of the screen and the exchange account on the other. Your Honor, she said, money in this family did not disappear. It changed shape 26 months ago in 61 transfers. The husband watched the purse like husbands are told to. We are asking the court to look at the shape. Then she sat down next to me and exhaled through her teeth. Now we wait, she said, and waiting is the worst lawyering there is. Those 11 days, I pulled freight like the case did not exist. Cody caught me staring into a trailer once and said nothing. He just handed me the next pallet sheet. The call came mid-shift, Marta's office on the screen. I finished the shift before I drove over. The ruling came 11 days later, on paper, 14 pages. Marta took me through it at her desk over takeout coffee. The court found the account was bought with community money. Our money, mine and hers, every traced dollar of it. The court found her gift story had nothing in writing, and the court found one thing more, the thing that mattered, fraud by name. Not error, not confusion, not bad bookkeeping, deliberate concealment, proven clear and convincing. The sworn lies, the sealed form, the sale during the freeze. In this state, hiding a community asset has a price tag. Hide it by mistake, you split it and pay some fees. Hide it by fraud, and the court can hand over all of it. Every coin, every dollar of growth, 100%. Page 11 had one sentence Marta repeated, slower the second time. Concealment of this character forfeits the asset concealed. 8 words, 30 years of work, stolen and regrown, handed back in 8 words. There is a famous case here, a wife who hit a lottery jackpot. One letter to her house exposed the ticket. She lost every cent of it to the husband she hid it from. My wife hit a different kind of ticket. Page 9. The court valued the account as of the award, not what she paid in, what it had become. $411,260. The judge spoke the number at the final hearing. $411,260. A second time, slower, glasses off. like he wanted the room to hold it. That is the moment you heard at the start of this story. Inside that moment, here is what actually happened to me. My hands flattened on the table like the wood might float away. Marta closed her fingers around my forearm. Hard, once. Steady, she whispered. Court faces. I had practiced losing for so long that winning had no shelf. Somewhere behind us, a chair scraped and heels left fast. I did not turn around. I had seen the leaving version of her enough for one life. Every dollar of her secret transferred to me. Not the community half. The whole account, every dollar, mine. Plus the $15,000 retainer she paid with frozen money. Clawed back, every cent. Her lawyer suddenly unpaid. Plus my attorney fees, hers to carry. And 1 page later, the line Marta circled in red pen. The $18,000 in advisory fees paid to Ray. Gifts of community money, made without my consent. Recoverable, the court wrote, from the recipient. Ray got a judgment with his own name on it. I saw Sharon one more time at the courthouse signing papers. She sat alone on a bench outside the clerk's office. Her downtown lawyer had withdrawn the week the fees clawed back. 19 years, and we had finally run out of words. I walked past, and neither of us spent one. The ruling moved no coins on its own. It took 9 more weeks to move the account into my name. Court orders, compliance desks, 2 notarized packets. The coins landed on a workday morning at 9:40. I parked outside the freezer and stared at the screen. $411,260, and every refresh it breathed a little. Up, down. I drove freight for 30 years. I do not gamble, and I was not about to start. I sold half that week and parked it in plain, boring dollars. Marta brought in a tax man before one coin moved. Transfers between divorcing spouses are not a taxable event. The basis rides along with the coins, his words written down. The first check went where every dollar of this started. Hannah's college fund, refilled, $31,000, plus the $9,200 her mother's penalties burned. The bursar lifted every hold within 3 days. My daughter called me crying from a stairwell. Dad, it says paid 4 semesters ahead. Paid ahead, I said. Nobody bounces you again. Not ever. She kept the bookstore job anyway. Saving is a habit now, she told me. I am the daughter who saves things. The second stop was the pawn shop. The ring was still in the case. Tag turned over. $450 now. The pawn man remembered me and knocked it down to $380. I paid him and put 3 million miles back on my hand. I caught up the house note, the power bill, the pills, paid the food bank back the only way they take it. A check, and 1 day a month unloading their truck. Sharon got the house equity in the split, on paper. Most of it went to the fees the court made her carry. She settled in at her sister's for good. Last I heard, she was leasing apartments in the next city, telling anyone who will listen that the system favors men. 14 pages say what the system favors is receipts. Ray paid his judgment in monthly installments, $18,000 plus interest, with his wife's lawyer copied on every payment. She filed 3 weeks after he said tomatoes under oath. 2 divorces, 1 birthday card, signed your guy. Sharon texted me once at Christmas through her sister. Tell Hannah to call me. I did not have to tell Hannah anything. She calls her mother on her own schedule, short calls, her terms. I keep my opinion off it. And Cody, the kid from the freezer, remember him. When I gave my notice, he shook my hand like I was retiring rich. I was, a little. But I came back that summer and co-signed nothing, lectured nobody. I bought the kid a real winter coat, the $300 kind. Young man, I said, and he laughed for a full minute. Here is where I ended up. My pressure dropped 30 points in the year after trial. 11 months of pills, walking, and no Sharon. This February, I sat for the DOT physical again, 128/81. The doctor signed my card and said, "See you in 2 years." That card rode home face up on the bench seat next to me, but I did not go back over the road. I bought a used box truck, cash, white, ugly, perfect, local freight, furniture, appliance runs, home by 6. 3 weeks a month gone is how this story happened. I am done being the man who is not in the house. My first paid run was a dorm refrigerator of all things. Up to the state school, 2nd floor, no elevator. I strapped it like museum freight, old habits. And as I eased the truck out, somebody banged the glass. Hannah in the bookstore window, waving like I was a parade. 30 years of hauling for strangers. The best load of my life was 60 pounds, 4 miles, free. That envelope never left my kitchen. Opened once by a bailiff, resealed in an evidence sleeve. I keep it where the coffee mugs live, so I see it every morning. Not to stay angry, to remember that the truth holds its shape in the dark. And once a week now, my phone rings at sunset. Hannah walking home from the bookstore, reading me numbers, her checking, her savings, the fund, 4 semesters deep, numbers with commas in them, and all of them true. I close my eyes and listen like it is a bedtime story, because now I check the statements. Trust is a gift. Verification is a habit. My daughter taught me you can hold both in the same hand. See you in the next one.